2026 is an election year for the Zambia Institute of Chartered Accountants, also known as ZICA, and it is safe to say that campaigns have officially begun and are well underway. I am Zamiwa Mwape, a chartered accountant and a fellow of ZICA, and I am sitting here today with one of the presidential candidates, Mulendo Siame. We're going to dig into the why behind his campaign, the pillars that are supporting it, as well as his vision for the Institute. The purpose of this discussion is to provide deeper insights onto his campaign and does not constitute an endorsement. Mulendo, welcome. How are you doing this morning?
Thank you very much, Zamiwe. I'm very well, thank you. I look forward to this conversation so that I can unpack my 5 pillars on which my presidential candidature is anchored.
As an accountant, I am keen to hear what you have to say. Okay, so let's get straight into it. Tell us a bit more, or should I say tell me a bit more about yourself, your career journey, and why you have chosen to run for president.
Thank you. That's a very good question to start with. My name is Mulendo Siame. I'm a fellow of the Zambia Institute of Chartered Accountants, and I'm also a fellow of the Association of Certified Chartered Accountants, ACCL. My journey, obviously, I have served as on the network panel, which is an advisory body for ACCA from 2016 up to 2019 when I was elected chairperson of the network panel, and I served as International Assembly member. I have also served on the Zambia Institute of Chartered Accountants. I have served on council, and while serving on council, I chaired the membership committee, and I also was the vice chairperson of the taxation committee of council. My career journey obviously spans over 15 years. I am currently the CEO of Eclipse Solutions Limited, a company that is focused on supply chain management and commodity trading. Prior to getting to Eclipse, a company that I founded in 2018, I think I've held senior roles across industry and agricultural trading and supply chain management. So I'm very well vested, and I come very loaded with the private sector experience.
And experience within professional bodies as well.
Experience within professional bodies, how to save in professional bodies.
Which transitions perfectly into my next question. Why have you decided to run for ZICA president?
Why I have decided to run for ZICA presidents. I think if you would take it from my tagline is obviously talking about your place, your voice, our ZICA. So your place, ensuring that every member feels ZICA is a professional home where they are supported, valued, and belong. Your voice, we want to amplify members' voices and give every member a seat on the table. Our ZICA, we want a ZICA that is anchored on leadership of transparency, financial accountability to deliver value to the members.
I'm keen to know, what is your leadership style? As you've said, you have over 15 years of experience in various sectors. How would you describe your leadership style, and how do you think it will impact how the Institute operates or runs, rather?
Thank you for that important question. I think it's very important that as we aspire for leadership positions, people should begin to understand what our leadership styles are. And personally, for me, I have lived a life of a leadership style that is anchored on consultation, inclusiveness, giving people in my team an opportunity to showcase. I'm a leader that leads through people. I'm a leader that believes in the people that I lead. I'm a leader that believes in consultation. I'm a leader that believes in all inclusiveness. Every voice on the table matters.
Okay, so inclusive leadership is your approach.
Is my approach.
Okay, so you said your tagline is your place, your voice, and our ZICA. How do you intend on translating that into tangible results for the Institute?
So in terms of translating that into tangible benefits for the Institute, I have come up with 5 pillars on which my candidature is anchored. And I'll quickly run through, and then we can go into the details of each pillars. My first pillar is anchored on unprecedented membership engagement. The second pillar obviously is focused on the dream that we've lived for many years, the Shungu na Mtitwa International Conference Center, which most people refer to as SNIC. And then my third pillar obviously is anchored on student support and building capacity. My fourth pillar speaks to financial governance, and my fifth pillar obviously speaks to issues around developing ZICA's research capacity.
So your first pillar is unprecedented membership engagement and support. What gap do you feel this pillar is seeking to fulfill?
So in terms of pillar number one, I've got specific items that I think we will seek to address under that pillar. The first one obviously is engagement of the members. I think ZICA needs a leadership that is prepared to engage the members. ZICA needs a leadership that is willing to listen to the members. We need to have engagements. Yes, we are given this opportunity to serve, but we must not behave as masters of the members. We are given an opportunity to serve. And what is to serve? To serve is to be able to listen to the people that we serve. We serve so that we sort out the problems that our members are facing. And we can only achieve that through constructive engagement. The other issue that obviously my pillar seeks to address is the issue of CPD support. I've argued on the approach of one size fits all CPD approach. I think within the profession, we need to migrate to industry specific CPD support. And we've got experts within the profession who are able to help us in developing the content, utilize the ICT platforms in which ZICA has invested to deliver quality, cost-efficient CPD support for our members. The third item obviously speaks to issues of professional indemnity. I think ZICA has done a bit of work in the recent past. I think when I was chairperson of the membership committee, we enhanced the whistleblower policy to try and align it to the Protected Disclosure Act. And there is more to do. My leadership seeks to build on that. I think beyond ZICA being known for disciplining members that are erring, I think we need to begin to support the members that need support. Currently, ZICA has got funeral benefit, which they support members with in case of death. But I've come to the realization that through this professional indemnity insurance that we should be able to provide to our members, I think it will address some of the issues who avoid giving benefits to the members in death. I would rather we give the benefit to the members now when they need support. So even when time comes for such members who are due to appear before disciplinary, I think we'll be very firm, deal with them because we support them when they need the support, and when they're erring, we shall deal with them. We shall deal with them. We shall deal with them in the right way, in a manner that promotes equity and fairness. The other pillar that I obviously want to address is the CA Zambia qualification. You know, I speak so passionately about the CA Zambia qualifications. I'm a product of NATEC, what we used to call NATEC, then we brought in the ZICA, then brought in the CA Zambia qualification. I think the transition over the years has not really helped in creating stability around the local qualification. Now that we have our own CA Zambia qualification, what we need to invest in as an institute is in brand awareness. We need to promote the CA Zambia qualification as a premier choice for employers within the country and outside the country. Remember, CA Zambia is a member of the Chartered Accountant Worldwide. So it is not only a qualification that is limited to the Zambian market. It is a qualification that is accepted even beyond the borders of this country. We've got vibrant CA Zambia accountants who are doing wonders within the country and outside the country. So the institute needs to invest. And one of the things that I would do when I'm elected as president, not if, when I'm elected as president, is to have a CS Zambia conference where we are going to have honest conversations with the CS, the employers, the trainers, and the regulators on how we take deliberate steps and actions where we can hold each other accountable on how we change the narrative around the CS Zambia modification, and we begin to write the story for the CS Zambia modification. The other pillar obviously speaks to transparency on committees and board appointments.
So these are pillars within the first pillar. We're still on the first pillar,
we're
right?
still on the first pillar.
Yeah, okay.
It's quite loaded, Daniel, and
It is quite loaded.
And I'm very passionate about the things that I talk about.
I can tell.
The fourth item obviously is around the board appointments and committee appointments within ZICA. You know, for many years, our members have complained there is lack of transparency on how people are appointed to boards. There is a lot of lack of transparency on how people are appointed, identified to serve on these committees. I think my leadership is anchored on transparency. Can we be transparent? The first thing that we are going to do through council when I'm elected is we shall have an appointments committee that will be dealing with issues of scrutinizing people who are to be appointed on boards, scrutinizing people who are going to be appointed to serve on committees, and they shall make a recommendation to council. Council will review and approve. We are going to also ensure that we are going to take the step further by creating transparency around this. We shall publish the list of the people who have been recommended by ZICA to serve on boards, committees, and we shall continue to do this even beyond my tenure, and to ensure we create a system that even beyond my tenure, this level of transparency and solid governance is sustained, because that's what the institute wants. The members want to hold us accountable. We don't want to see that Zamiwe has been recommended by ZICA, the institute, to sit on 4 boards against many other members who can be given an equal opportunity to serve on the boards.
So you've said quite a lot of things, and like you rightly indicated, that pillar is quite loaded, right? So I'd like to know what you will be prioritizing to deliver actual benefits to members within the next 6 to 12 months. And also, the things you've mentioned have a cost implication, right? When you're talking about the CPD, ensuring that it's like tailored. When you talk about, I read your manifesto and you spoke about building and maintaining a platform and database that that lists all the members and links to their LinkedIn and so on and so forth. All those require resources and have cost implications. So how are you planning on funding these items?
Very interesting questions, Anu. I think a lot of times people are mistaken costs with leadership. I think the challenges that ZICA has is not a challenge of cost. The biggest problem we have to deal with is an issue of leadership. We need a sound leadership that wants to serve the interests of the members. I'll quickly run through. For example, the issue of industry-specific CPD support. Within the profession, we've got members who are willing to develop CPD content at no cost. But are we willing to engage them? No. Why? Because we feel they are going to steal the spotlight from us. That's not leadership. We should be able to bring everyone on the table, help us develop content, and members are willing to come on board, develop this content. We've got an ERP system. Well, ZICA has invested money already in the ERP. So all we'll do is upload this CPD content on the platform for our members to be able to access. Engagements. What does it cost to engage members? Should the cost be a reason why we are not engaging with members? If I challenge the current leadership today to do a member satisfaction survey, I will be very surprised if we are going to get any member satisfaction level above 50%. Our members are disengaged from the profession. What does it cost to engage members? It costs almost nothing. We need to send the right message. We need to engage with members the right way. We need to support members the right way. Within the current cost structure that ZICA is running, what does it cost to promote the ZICA Zambia conference? It costs almost nothing. The crisis we have is a crisis of leadership. It's not a problem of cost. I will deal with the issue of cost as we progress to my fourth pillar, where I also talk a little bit about the loss and how we are going to leverage cost optimization to be able to fund this if really indeed the problem is cost.
Okay. And could you speak to your priorities within the 6 to 12 months?
In terms of priorities within the first 6 to 12 months, number one, I think within the first 2 to 3 weeks, if not less, that we are in office, one of the things we'll do is we invite applicants to fill up positions to sit on the appointments committee as step number one. Once we set up the appointments committee, we'll then roll out adverts for people to sit on available boards if at the time we are being elected, as they haven't distributed all the seats to members, to serve on the committee for the new council that will be elected on 22nd May 2026. The ZICA Zambia conference, it's one thing I'm very passionate about, and through my engagements with the CAs around how they have been wanting to have this done for the last 3 years. Again, the problem has been cost. I disagree. The problem is leadership. I have made a personal commitment that through the people that I interact with, through the network of private sector, people that believe in my leadership, people that believe in my vision that I have for the institute, we are going to find partners to fund the ZICA Zambia conference. That is going to happen within 45 days of being in office. It's going to happen, and you can hold me accountable to the commitments that I'm making. We are going to begin, in fact, some of these engagements, people have shown willingness to provide CPD content, but we are not giving them an opportunity. So all that we need is a trusted leadership that is going to bring every accountant. Remember, every accountant deserves a seat at the table. So we've got a table, but we are not inviting people to sit. So I'm going to invite industry experts who are developing that CPD content. And this we are going to do within 90 days of developing a framework that ensures we deliver cost quality CPD support to our members. So 12 months will perhaps be too much for pillar number one, if I'm being honest.
I will personally hold you accountable to all these
Please.
timelines you're giving us. I want us to move on to your second pillar. So you mentioned the Shunguna Mutitima, and I would like you to elaborate, for the sake of the members who may not be aware, what is the SNCC project and how do you plan to roll it out? I saw in your manifesto that you said you plan to undertake a phased approach to bringing an events convention center to life. But could you please provide some more context around that?
Zamiwe, I discussed the Shunguna Mutitima project with a lot of passion. I think as a profession, this is a dream we've lived for far too long. ZICA has got a prime land in Livingstone. I have personally visited that place 3 times.
How big is it?
I think it's around 100 hectares, but I need to confirm. But it's very big property that ZICA has within the Chief Mukuni chiefdom. When you're on the property, you can actually oversee the Zambezi River. The problem we have with the development of the SNCC project is leadership. And I'll keep speaking about the issue of leadership. The problem with the Shunguna Mutitima International Conference Center development is leadership. And we need to sort out the problem of leadership. The project has to be implemented in phases. currently as ZICA, we do not have the financial capacity to develop that project to its full scale. But we need to begin to show leadership. We need to begin to attract investors by doing the small, small things that we can do to add value on that project.
And what are those small things? And how do you plan on seeking financing for the project? Like you've said, that's the main challenge.
For example, I know perhaps this is privileged information. When I served on council, and Zamiwa, this is 3 years ago, when I served on council, there was a budget of less than 6 million kwacha, not dollars, 6 million kwacha to do the initial works for the project. And what was in that initial works? The initial works were obviously to do a bit of run tailing, to put up a slab, to put up a car park, and to put up facilities so that we're able to pitch a tent. Remember, ZICA continuously holds its AGM at Avan. We are pitching a tent at Avan. And I give a lot of credit to the leadership of Madam Cecilia Zimba. I think in her last term as president, in her last year as president, she did push that agenda that ZICA needed to hold that conference at the Shunguna Mutitima International Conference. A budget came to council. It was less than 6 million, but of course, it came with its own security technicality, because in that same year, that's when the head of state, His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema, came to officiate at the ZICA AGM. So I think it just changed the conversations around that. And my expectation was that the leadership that was elected at that AGM needed to build on the momentum that President Cecilia Zimba had left for that project.
So what happened to the 6 million? Because you were serving at that time, right? Was any ground ever broken? Did anything happen?
It's a problem of leadership. Nothing happened after. In fact, it's been a dream, like I keep saying. It's a dream we have lived. It's a dream we continue to live. But I'm willing to provide leadership around that project, and we will start. We'll start with baby steps, but the profession can trust me with the fact that we are going to start and we'll make a difference on that project.
I just want to press you a little bit on that for you to give us a specific approach. So when you say you start with baby steps, what are the baby steps? What are you going to do that's going to ensure that we move the needle from where we are right now, and with the change in leadership, seeing as you keep highlighting that, what are you going to do to move the needle from where we are now with the SNCC project to where you envision it being, which I believe is that we have a convention center that can be used for the AGM, for the conference that you mentioned, thus resulting also long-term in some savings for the Institute?
I'm glad that you want to press hard, and it's very good for accountability, so that even people that are going to follow this conversation, I think it will give them a level of confidence and trust in the leadership that they're about to elect to lead the profession. I clearly said that I think in 2022, 2023, there was a budget that council had done. They had engaged experts to look at what is the best infrastructure that we needed to be able to hold the conference there. And it was in the range of 5.5 to 6 million kwacha. So the starting point in delivering that is to go back and see, at the time I served on council, under the leadership of President Cecilia Zimba, there was this issue that came to council. There was this budget that will report to council. Where are we? So it's about holding people accountable from where the project was left and see what has been done. Perhaps, for lack of a better term, we need to go and dust those files and give life to the virus.
Okay, so step one is the diagnostics.
Diagnostics.
Got it. Okay. I would also like us to, just one last one on this SNCC project. So the long-term vision is that we have savings resulting from this establishment, right? How are you going to ensure that eventually these savings are being cascaded down as benefits to the members?
Okay. The members' cry at the moment is the cost of conferences. When ZICA has got its own facility where we are going to run these conferences, we expect that it will lower the cost of our members to participate in the pre-AGM and many other conferences that are held in Livingstone. Because remember, this facility will not be available only to ZICA and its members. It's a facility that is going to be run on commercial basis. Many other associations and institutions that hold events in Livingstone will find this to be a prime event for them to hold conferences, and ZICA will generate resources out of it, will pass on the benefit to the members through lowered CPD cost and lowered cost of events.
Lovely. Okay, so I'm keen to unpack your third pillar, which is comprehensive student support and capacity building. And with this one, you also go on to say we must invest in the future of our profession by systematically removing financial barriers for top performing accounting students. Now, I know this is a pillar that you are personally passionate about, and that you basically put your money where your mouth is, in that I understand you've sponsored about 157 students. Could you elaborate more on why this particular pillar is important to you and the impact that you want to continue to have in this space?
It's one pillar, Zamiwa, which I'm very passionate about. It's a life that I have lived. I've walked the talk. It's not something that started last year. It's not something that started 3 years. I know when you're running campaigns like this, people want to think that there are certain things that are done for campaign. For me, I would have loved to totally avoid this conversation, but it's something I've done in the background with very little visibility. I'm so passionate about it. I have run a lot of programs to support students on the SCCA. When I served on the SCCA network panel, we did run what we called the accelerated program, where we were recruiting and supporting students from universities. At the same time, we had kick-started a program to set up a bursary scheme under the SCCA when I served as network panel. And I give a lot of credit to the men and women that took over from me, the likes of Chembe Chakalashi. I think they built on that momentum which I brought to the ZICA side. I think we've done a lot of programs. I've supported a lot of students, like you have said, across different universities in accounting and finance. I haven't supported anyone outside that, but I think it's something that I should begin to consider. I've supported from Rungush University, CBU, Copperbelt, and ZICAS. And until recently, I didn't keep track of the numbers. So when I asked my team to try and put these things together, they gave me the statistics. I was like, okay, this is really impacting people's lives.
Yeah.
I've also worked very closely with FZWA on their mentorship program. I have supported both the males and females to be enrolled under the FZWA mentorship programs. Additionally, I think I have supported about 60 students to attend the ZITA conferences, both on the Copper Belt in Lusaka. I've also been an advocate of rewarding achievement, and that's why that pillar speaks to top performance. I think I've, over the last years, supported 28 achievement awards under the various ZICA programs at different graduation ceremonies. Now, why am I talking about this pillar? We do agree that times are hard, and currently ZICA does not have a system to track top performers who fall off the ladder. Some of the people I've supported my supporters changed their lives because they were left with one semester to graduating. They lost a breadwinner. They lost a sponsor. Those are the people that I supported. And so what I'm saying is from ZICA, we should be able to track top performers who fall off the ladder. We begin to engage them. We begin to support them. We begin to write a story of how ZICA is impacting people's lives. A lot of people have asked me to say, a lot of these things need funding. I have said no. What the problems and how to deal with this problem? It's a leadership problem.
But money makes the world go round.
Money makes the world go round, but with a trusted leadership, with a leadership that is open, with a leadership that is willing to collaborate without seeing others as competition. These are things that we can achieve with a leadership that is inclusive, a leadership that brings people on the table. This program of bursaries can be achieved. How are we going to achieve it? Remember, ZICA is running exams. We are the ones who are doing registration for the students. So through council, for those top performers who are falling off, we can support them by waiving those fees. Now, the other aspect of it is that most of these students, they are already attached to a university or a college. So we engage the college where they are on their behalf, to engage the college to give them either discounted tuition fees or waiver their tuition fees. The third aspect is they may need financial support. We are going to go to private sector, Auditor General, our colleagues in practice, and begin to arrange internship programs for these students so that they then begin to earn something small in terms of monthly allowance to be able to support them. Remember, at the end of their program, they may be absorbed in the system. And that is what I say, real support. Today at ZICA, we do have members who we support through discounted fees. And so it's the same model. If it has worked for members, I think the model can also work for students. And I can assure you, Zamir, this will be delivered, and it is going to be a game changer, and it will speak to the kind and quality of leadership that ZICA has been looking forward to.
I'm keen to know if you have already determined what structures you're going to put in place to ensure that there's transparency around this process in terms of who's qualifying for top, as a top performer, just from a governance perspective. And I know we're going to transition into the governance discussion in the next pillar, but I'm keen to know if you've thought about how we're going to ensure transparency around this, as well as actually what you said under one of the previous pillars about people getting board memberships and so on. Yeah, so I'm keen to know.
So for me, it's around clear leadership. It's around needs test basis. How do we achieve this? We are going to put up a committee of distinguished people, people with credibility, who are going to come up with a criteria. This will not be my criteria. This will be the criteria for the committee, which will be appointed by the institute. They are the ones who are going to be reviewing applications. They are the ones who are going to be making recommendations. And council will act on the recommendations of this independent committee of men and women who are willing to serve, not men and women who are willing to advance personal interests.
Interesting. Okay. So moving on to your fourth pillar, which is speaking to strengthening financial governance and resource efficiency. So I believe one of the things that gives you, one of the strengths that you have as a candidate is that you have served, like you said, on the ZICA Council, you have served with ACCA. What have those experiences taught you about financial governance within professional bodies, and how do you intend on applying that within the context of ZICA?
It's been a big lesson, even away from from professional bodies, also private sector. I was very privileged to have gotten into management at a very tender age. So I've lived a life of making decisions that are aimed to serve the greater good. So obviously, ZICA is at a time where cost optimization is key. I know they recently circulated the financial statements, and it's sad to say, Zamiwe, I know you're an accountant, that in many, many years, ZICA is beginning to break records. We've recorded a deficit, and therefore that deficit actually intensifies my belief for cost optimization. Remember, when I was coming up with these pillars, I had no sight of the financial statements. And therefore, the fact that I'm speaking about cost optimization in the same year where we record a deficit, it speaks to the fact that I know what needs to be done for the institute. And also, you know, these are some of the things you want to reluctantly talk about. But I think with the loss that we have made as an institute, I think it's time we said no to business class, first class flights. ZICA is not a blue chip institution where we are going to spend members' money like that. I think we need to have a leadership that is going to be very cautious in terms of how they spend this money for members. When you are spending money for members, the first question you should ask is, Zaniwe, if I go and spend 300 or 400,000 kwacha on one air ticket and it became public to the members, do you expect a public approval? If the answer is yes, then I need to sit back and say, am I making the right decision? It's about leadership. Are we here to serve? If the answer is yes, I think we must be willing to fly modestly. We can fly economy, save money. The institute is bleeding. We cannot continue to bleed even for a day after 22nd April 2026. But also remember, on the issue of cost optimization, what I'm saying is the savings that will be generated from cost optimization will be redirected into member services. And what are those member services? It's issues around lowering the cost for CPD. I'm also saying the savings will go towards the Shunguna International Project. So if you see really from pillar 1 to where we are sitting, you will see that I am offering myself for service because I want to save, not because I want to gain anything personal from the institute. I want to give out my everything that I've left with to the institute so that tomorrow we write and begin to write a real ZICA story of what service to the profession is.
Lovely, lovely. You know, I think we're all keen to see the impact trickling down for all these initiatives trickling down to actual members. Aside from the business class and first class flights that you've mentioned, do you see any other opportunities for cost optimization within the institute?
So in terms of cost optimization, obviously we have to go line by line and really see what is driving the costs. What we need to identify, what is driving the costs. We need to deal with the issues that are driving the costs. And also beyond what is driving the costs, we need to do a cost benefit analysis. Are we going to just drive cost because we have identified the cost driver? We must also say, okay, what is the benefit of driving these costs? What is a benefit to the members? What is a benefit to the institute? I think that is the approach that we have to begin to take as an institute.
It would be remiss for me to have a conversation about strengthening financial governance and efficiencies within ZICA without us touching on, albeit briefly, on the 2 million kwacha fraud that we had. What are your thoughts on that? And what would be your approach to ensuring something like that doesn't happen? I know as president, you're not in the operations, you're more providing leadership on a strategic level and so on. But I feel like that is an aspect that the members would be really keen to hear coming out of this discussion.
Yeah, it made sad reading when we learned about that fraud. But also, I think for me, what actually struck me the most was a reaction. I didn't see a reaction of taking responsibility. And I think for me, that is the hallmark of leadership. When you're a leader, when you're in a driving seat, you need to take responsibility. You cannot pass on the blame to other people. We gave you the mandate to lead the profession. If you look at what they told us, that fraud started many, many years ago, if you look at what fraud happened in prior council, is around 140,000 kwacha, if I'm not mistaken. The bulk of it, about 2.2 million, happened under the current leadership. So it's about taking responsibility, but also it's about when you have got a leadership that is united with a purpose to serve the profession, you get a leadership that is going to hold executive accountable. When council is united, you strengthen the control environment. When you see council divided, the many stories that we've heard about our current council, you weaken the control environment. So I'm saying one of the things we'll do is in strengthening governance, when we strengthen governance at the top, we strengthen accountability going down. And that accountability increases the quality of the controls that we put in place. There is no time to fight. There is time to unite the profession. There is time to provide solid, sound leadership to better lead the profession.
Your final pillar, moving on to your final pillar, which is advancing research and thought leadership. Now, you elaborate on this pillar saying our profession must lead national economic discourse with evidence-based insights and authoritative policy guidance. ZICA is an economic advisor to the government. Could you please expand on how you will look into this in practice during your tenure?
You know, ZICA has got a mandate which is to regulate, train, and also be an advisor to government. I have been of the view for many years that there is need for ZICA to enhance and up again when it comes to issues around research and policy advocacy. We can only advocate for policies which are research-based, evidence-driven. Do we have the capacity to do that now? My answer would be no. I was very privileged to have served on the ZICA Taxation Committee as Vice Chair. And I hold in high respect, so much respect, for the men and women that serve on that committee. George Chitwa, we've got Michael Piri, Patrick Mawire, Monica, under the leadership of Nathan Mutale. That is a think tank, policy think tank for ZICA. They need support. How do we enhance their ability to deliver? We need to ensure that we invest in research as ZICA. How do we do that? We don't need, Zanua, times have changed. We don't need as ZICA to start recruiting and manage a research center. No, we don't have time for that. We want to focus on members. There are so many universities in this country with good reputation who we can engage and fund a research chair for them to conduct research. They are able to give us detailed evidence-based research on issues around economic policies, tax reforms, with comparatives to what is happening in other jurisdictions. So that when this comes to ZICA now, it is packaged in a way that it now goes to government through engagements, the various engagements through Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs as policy advocates. When we're engaging the Commissioner General for ZRA, we must engage the Commissioner General for ZRA with very well presented evidence-based research and policy guideline on how we want the authority to work. There are issues around tax reforms. There are issues around economic reforms. ZICA is only having nothing but a lip service. We are just talking on top. Our advice to government is not very detailed. Look, I'm on so many WhatsApp groups. There's a lot of campaign going around. Not today, as I was getting ready for this conversation, I see some colleagues posting about why ZICA has not been invited for the last couple of town halls that the Minister of Finance has held. And from that conversation, what I could get was, I don't know, maybe we are not providing the substance that government expects from ZICA. We want a ZICA where if there are engagements around economic reforms, tax policies, when the conveners of these meetings look around in the room and they don't see ZICA on the program, they must know that there is one important partner who is missing in the role. Who is that important partner? ZICA. How do you become an important partner? Let's invest in research. It's the only way to go. That's the only way we are going to advocate for policy reforms. That's the only way. Remember, sit on the table. That's the only way we are going to be given a seat at the table for economic reforms.
So you have expanded on your 5 pillars quite extensively. So thank you so much for that. I'm keen to know what challenges or what's the main challenge you foresee encountering if, or as you said, when you are elected as president?
I think the biggest challenge will be I'll perhaps be receiving too many accolades that I'm not prepared to receive. If I see that as a challenge, maybe my phone will become more busy. But that is on a lighter note. There will be shocks. When I'm elected president, there will be shocks. The biggest challenge is resistance to change. That I expect resistance to change, and we are going to have a structured approach to deal with it. We are going to hold people accountable. We are going to make everyone understand what service is to the profession. And the members are going to be our masters.
Beautifully put. I would like you to, in a few sentences, tell the members how they should measure your success from day one to the last day of your tenure. How would you tie that all up together?
I think, how do they measure my success from day one? One of the things they should look at are my pillars. My pillars are very clear, they are very measurable. I am not saying things that they can't measure. If they don't see transparency around board appointments, they'll hold me accountable. If they don't see a list of people appointed to boards, they'll hold me accountable. I can't lie. I'll be able to say, hey, it's here in the paper. These are the people. If CPD is not industry specific, they'll say, the same thing. You promise industry specific CPD, you can't see industry specific CD. We are seeing one size fits all approach. It's very easy. My pillars are measurable. They are well thought. These are not pillars that I have thought about when I had the call for nominations. These are pillars. Some of them are 4 or 5 years. This is a life that I've walked. This is a life that I've lived. And I know this is what the profession needs to do. If we don't hold the CA conference, the CAs should be able to say, we haven't held the CA conference. It's measurable. There is no way. It's either you have the CA conference or you don't have it. Around student support, it will be visible for people to see. Financial governance, they will see from the first year financial performance that indeed this is a man that talked about cost optimization. You are coming from a deficit, and now we are celebrating some decent
surplus and we build on the Shungu na Mtitima, people should be able to point to say, sir, you promised the Shungu na Mtitima. We are still seeing the same grass. 20 years down the line, we are still seeing the same grass that we saw 5-6 years ago. The story will be different. People should be able to see that there's tangible development at the Shungu na Mtitima. When it comes to research, people will be able to see that, look, yes, today, ZICA has got a seat at the table where decisions are made because it's made public. I saw members share the program for town halls. I don't know if it's for the last 5-6 town halls where ZICA has not been invited. Going forward, they'll see ZICA is being invited. They'll see it in the quality of the quarterly press briefings that we are going to have. They'll be solid. So members will see it. I mean, the issue of dealing with members is that if you don't deliver, there's no way you can hide. If you don't, it's either you deliver or you don't deliver. There's nothing like sitting on the fence. And I am offering myself because I know what it is to serve. And I'm saying I'm prepared to serve the members. I'm prepared for a solid leadership. I'm prepared to be held accountable. It should not be top down. It should be bottom up.
Wonderfully put. And do you have any final statement to give someone, to say to someone who might be on the fence? Like they've heard everything you said, they're still on the fence about whether to vote for you or the next candidate. Any final words?
I think my final appeal to any voter who is not decided, the train is moving. We need a ZICA that is going to deliver value to the members. You need to jump on this train of accountability where you are able to hold your leaders accountable. You need to join the journey of transparency. You need to join a journey of supporting students. You need to join a journey of giving value to the members. You need to jump on this journey of strong financial governance. You need to jump on this train which speaks to research and development. I have offered myself because I want the best for the institute. I appeal to you to look at my platform. My platform has got 5 pillars, very clear. There's nothing hidden in those pillars. Read them as they are and interpret them the way they are written. I've not hidden anything. Why? Clarity promotes accountability, and that's what I want. I want a leadership that can be held accountable. Now is the time for the ZICA that we want. Your place, your voice, our ZICA. I am the man for transformation of ZICA. Vote Mulendo Siame for ZICA President. 22nd May 2026. ZICA will never be the same.
Thank you so much, Mulendo, for taking the time to unpack your 5 pillars and tell us about your vision for ZICA as well as the why behind why you're standing. I can feel the passion resonating as you've, unpacked this entire conversation. So thank you.
Thank you, Zamir, for being a great host. And obviously, if you have got space, I'd want to have a follow-up conversation 60 days or earlier when I'm elected president so that we can begin this journey of accountability. Thank you, and continue to pay your membership, your subscription. We need you on the register. We need people like you to drive the agenda for ZICA. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. This is a man who is willing to be held accountable. He has asked for another interview in 60 days, and we're going to hold him accountable to that. Do you mean that's if/when you win?
I'm winning the election. When I'm elected president of ZICA, let's have this conversation, and I'll begin to tick this one, deliver this one, done. And it will be evidence-based. This CA conference, we have CA to confirm this is done. CPD, we have people to confirm. It's time to work. It's time to save the professions anyway.
Okay, I love the accountability. All right, thank you so much for watching. If you are a member of ZICA who is eligible to vote, please be sure to cast your vote. And remember, this year we are no longer filling out those manual proxy forms. So even if you're not able to go to the AGM this year, please be sure to cast your vote. Thank you so much.